community oriented, shows professionalism and integrity, is a team player, is accountable, and is a good steward. Could we have roll call, please?
Shelley,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Andor.
Yes.
Okay, we need to have approval of our meeting agenda. So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call?
Walling,
Yes.
Mahler.
Yes.
Shelley,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Andor.
Yes.
Okay, next up is the consent agenda. It consists of the minutes of the March 2nd, 2026 regular city council meeting and our February 25th, 2026 low-income housing tax credit housing development work session. There are 5 payments for contract services, 4 to Bolton and Mink and 1 to EOC Environmental for a total of $64,971.50 and the claims register and financials of $232,934.07 with no licenses and permits applied for this time. Have a motion, please.
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call?
Klein,
Yes.
Andor.
Yes.
Shelley,
Yes.
Mahler.
Yes.
Walling.
Yes. Okay, turn it over to Sven for the city administrators report.
All right, just covered a lot in the budget meeting, but again, just wanted to repeat that Representative Nordman and Senator Green will be having a legislative forum this Saturday at 1 o'clock at the Dallas County Hospital. Be upstairs in one of their community rooms, so hopefully folks can make it to that. Any questions for me?
Okay, move on to mayor and council comments. I just wanted to thank the staff for all the work they've done on the budget. I know it's hard work, and especially when the pennies are tight, it's hard work and hard going, and really appreciate all you do. Seems like over the last few years, there's always been a lot of cities and administrators and budget people in the news about inappropriations and funds. And as you'll see from our audit report that we're going to approve tonight, our staff's done an excellent job of staying above board and keeping everything in good stead. So thank you for all that. So keep us out of trouble. Council comments.
Thanks once again to getting streets cleaned off again, but I guess it was mostly salt this time. We were fortunate, we had a lot of wind, but not so much.
I got something that I would like to address. This is coming from me as a councilman and as a resident. A few months back here, we approved a property over here on the north side of town that is partly in the city and partly in the county for shooting guns. And that's going on a lot. On Friday night, I left my house. I heard guns firing from the back door of my house to 3.16 miles out on the Trestle Bridge, which is nearly to Grandview Road, I believe that is, and all the way back. And I'm sure that I'm not the only one that heard. So I would like to revisit that situation sometime in the very near future.
Thank you.
Or does that make sense?
Hopefully they buying the bullets from Ace Hardware.
Any other?
I have guns and I like guns, but I don't shoot them in town.
Okay. That will move on. Open forum requests. Speakers are asked to step up to the microphone and state your name and address for the record, and you'll be given 3 minutes to address the council. Any open forum requests? Okay, hearing none. We've got a couple of special presentations tonight. The first one is from the Raccoon River Valley Trail Association. Again, state your name and address, please.
Well, Pat Steele with the Raccoon River Valley Trail Association. I live in Adel. I'm also on the Dallas County Hospital Board of Directors with Joseph and Dirk. So pleasure to be here, and thank you for giving us the time. Anything else I need to?
Nope. Doug, let him introduce himself and then we'll get into your presentation.
Doug Pfeiffer, Adel, Iowa, also with the Raccoon River Valley Trail Association. I'm the incoming chair for the next year, fiscal year.
Congratulations.
And I'm the outgoing chair. I did not get impeached. I'm leaving voluntarily. They left before they could. Anyway, I'd like to talk a little bit. What we're trying to do is to our association to meet with every one of the 14 trail towns, just to kind of give an update on the trail, what's going on, so you know who we are, kind of what we're doing, and projects that are coming up on the trail. I think when we have a system like the Raccoon River Valley Trail, sometimes when we live here, we take it for granted, but it's a pretty unique trail in America. It's one of the, I think, great recreational assets in central Iowa. And at 89 miles, it's the longest paved loop trail in the country. It's also one of 40 trails in the country out of 2,400 that have achieved Hall of Fame status. So that makes it one of the top 2% trails in the United States. And the nice thing, it's connected to a couple other trails. So you've got this kind of continuous trail system in central Iowa, obviously connects to the High Trestle Trail here in Perry, and then also the Greenbelt Trail in Clive, which then connects it to all the trails in the Des Moines Metro system. So when you take a look at all those connections, that's over 600 miles where almost no one has to ride on a street. It can be on trails throughout. So Doug's going to get into kind of the economic health impacts, a study done by the Iowa Bicycle Coalition. But we annually do a trail user survey. And this year, kind of want to report the findings to you. Last year, we did this. We had in 2024, we had 150 responses. And this year, we've doubled that to almost 300. And we don't give them any prize or anything for submitting the survey. And kind of the results were, of those 300 trail users, 57% of them live elsewhere. They don't live in one of the trail towns. So that's a pretty high number. Secondly, 38% do live in communities along the trail. And then 6% come from outside Iowa, which is a pretty significant number for people completing the survey. What we found is that the majority of the riders use the trail weekly or more often. About 3/4 to 75% of them ride at least 20 miles or more. And many of those plan multi-day trips on the trail or full-day trips on the trails. So what this really tells us is that the trail is bringing a lot of visitors into communities like Perry from beyond the immediate area, and they shop here. They spend money on food, beverages, and suppliers. If you get bikers off their seats and into the communities, typically they spend about $20 per rider. So if you think about 350 to 400,000 riders on the trail annually, that's a pretty significant economic impact. 98% of those, 99% of those who responded said they always feel safe on the trail or most of the time, and 97% would recommend the trails to others. What they liked about the Raccoon River Valley Trail was the scenic rural landscapes. They liked the loop design that you can start in a part of the trail and you never have to repeat going past the same spot again. And then primarily the access to food, beverages, and rest stops in the trail towns. The top suggestions for improvement, they would like to see every trailhead have a public restroom. You do, so that's nothing you need to worry about. I think another important thing is signage, because a lot of the people who come through these towns maybe have never been here before. So I think having some signage to pointing where things are. Again, in Perry, with your proximity to downtown and the trail, they can see those, but signage is always helpful. And then continued trail maintenance and resurfacing. That's always a challenge for trails. Once you build them, you also have to maintain them. So they're not, trails are not just kind of a recreational amenity. They're really an economic and public health asset. And Doug's going to get into some of the findings from the study done by the Iowa Bicycle Coalition.
So a couple of personal words from me quickly, briefly. One is a thank you. I regularly do the 73-mile loop. Again, I live in Adel, hop on the trail. So thank you for the restroom at the depot. I really appreciate that. Secondly, my wife and I regularly ride Burr, and you're just a great host town to start with that. So thank you for that. my good friend, the pastor at the Christian church in Perry, Andrea, was working there this year and I got to see her. So thank you for hosting. So economic impact, I'm going to ask a series of questions. I'm going to answer them very quickly, but I'll get your kind of thoughts moving here. What would you think might be the total annual? So this again from Iowa Bicycle Coalition 2025 study. What would you think number would be the total annual economic impact of cycling and trail use in Iowa for all the trails? What would you think that might be? It's 1.4 billion, billion with a B, $1 billion. How about the number of Iowans that ride bicycles on multi-use trails like the Raccoon River Trail? How many would you think that might be? Almost 1,900,000. How about the amount of money raised or given from bicycle-related tourism each year? How much might that be, might you think? 13 million, million with an M. And how about the number from economic activity from trail construction and maintenance that, you know, goes into our communities from that work? 24 million, million with an M. And then how about Iowa's bicycle retail sector? How much would that rake in or receive each year? $56 million. And again, this is for all of Iowa because of trail use. So that's economic impact. So significant numbers there. How about health benefits? I want to mention a couple. One is frequent cyclists have 49% lower likelihood of chronic or mental health, 49% lower likelihood. And then cyclists also have a reduced risk of several chronic diseases. So I'm going to end my time with you with a brief. I'll try to do this in a minute, around a minute. I'm a pastor, so this is a personal testimony. Because of genetics, I have inherited a number of these chronic diseases. I have diabetes type 2. I have high cholesterol. I'm at risk for heart disease. I've got all of the indicators. I'm on 14 different medications, all because I exercise and I eat well. And this is just all because of my genetics. However, when I was 58 years old, so this was 7 years ago, I completed a marathon. I did 26.2 miles of a run. And then when I was 59, so 6 years ago, I completed a half Ironman triathlon. You know what the distances are for a half Ironman triathlon? 1.2 mile swim, 56-mile bike, and then finish with a 13.1 mile run. And I've actually done several of those practice runs. And the only way I could do that, the only thing that made that possible for me to do that, I do not like running on a treadmill or biking in a gym. I've done those things in the winter, but is the trail. I use the trail, and I have spent years and years and years absolutely loving being on the Raccoon River Trail, and it has really helped my health immensely. So whatever you have done to enhance the trail use on the trail here, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Just to kind of wrap up, and we have a video we'd want to show you, but we have a couple of big projects on the trail. As I said, one generation builds, the next generation has to maintain. So the lighted bridge in Adel, which was damaged by accidental arson back in last year, is now under repair, and it should be reopened in August at a cost of about $700,000 to repair. Three individuals were charged, found guilty in that, and one is currently in prison. The other two were given deferred or probation sentences. Then the other project is the stretch, Winkleman's Trace, which is near Jefferson and to Herndon, or to Yale, I should say. That's about a 13-mile stretch. That has the original asphalt on it. So, do the math, that's about 27 years that asphalt is held up, and it's not holding up very well. It's almost an unrideable stretch now. So it costs $5 million to do that. Those two counties have secured about half of that now, $2.5 million. There's been talk about trying to do part of it now, but I think they're kind of landed on the spot to get the whole 5 million, and we bring the crew in and they fix all 13 miles at one time. So they have applied for grants. Iowa really does not have a mechanism for maintenance funding, so that's something that we need to get fixed here, because it's expensive to maintain a trail, but if you don't, then it deteriorates and it's no longer valuable. The final thing I'd want to say is that if you today said, we'd like to build an 89-mile trail, it would cost you about $100 million. The thing that's great about the rail to trail system is that the railroads have built the bridges, and that typically is the most expensive part of building a trail. We have a lot of bridges because we obviously follow part of the course of the Raccoon River. So it's a great trail system. It's an economic and health benefit, but we have to find ways to maintain it. So that's I think the challenge for us is to come up with ways to be able to keep the trail in good shape in order for people from around the country to come here and ride it. So one of the things we'd like to show you now is a promotional video that we've done. We did this to really try to attract more out-of-state visitors, because when they say, well, what's that trail really like? So we've got a visual thing that they can see on our website, and I could take a look at that now.
Climb 9 miles, including a 70-mile loop. This trail proudly holds the esteemed title of the nation's longest paved loop trail, which history dates back to the early 1800s. Vital railroad route connecting rural communities. To its name, the trail follows the Raccoon River, weaving through historic bridges. Jefferson, Adel. Since its establishment in 1989, it's become a destination for tourists, offering ample opportunities for health, wellness, recreation, seamlessly linking 14 communities along its route.
And I, of course, I live very close. I ride that. At least once a week. And the thing that's nice about it, there is such a scenic trail, goes through a lot of small little towns with little mom and pop shops, little restaurants. There's several bars on the way. They'll have lots of spots. People ride through here and shade for a bit, and all of a sudden they're out in the middle of the field, and then you're back Nearly 30 miles in length, this historic rail line has undergone a remarkable expansion and transformation into one of the country's in over 1,000 cyclists, bikers, and walkers annually, fully claims its spot among the prestigious Hall of Fame trails of the United States. With its smooth surface, trail caters to cyclists of all ages and skill levels, making it perfect for the outings, adventurous long-distance ride.
I think one of the biggest reasons. Yeah, had a very long, largest paved trail. Paved trail, you know, that's something they could work experiencing.
Signage has been an integral part of the trail. Conception.
Hey.
Mileage signs. Make the each town, indicating distances to the next town in both directions. Additionally, there are informative signs highlighting historical points of interest along the trail. The distinctive highlight of the trail is its homage to the region's railroad heritage. A sparkling art installation embraces the trail, seamlessly blending futuristic design with historical motifs. Railroad Pergola is a tribute to the trail rail legacy. Each trail city currently showcases a smaller rendition of this artwork, creating a cohesive art theme along the trail. Artistic expressions flourish throughout the trail. The restored depots to vibrant murals and captivating sculptures, change the journey with equal significance.
See that center on the mural. All the other, you know, towns that have a mural represent their community, they're proud. People starting small businesses, and then they handle more like the businesses. You don't see this in other states.
Accommodation options range from cozy bed and breakfasts and hotels to convenient hotels and serene campgrounds. It's just, there's just so much to do and we've got some itineraries. We've got 1 day, 2 day rides. You could actually spend a week never be in the same.
Yeah, just they have cinema. It shows that a trail can be so arts. That's a great way. We're telling the story that it be told. People who do those rides in years.
Whether you seek a serene retreat into nature, a journey throughout history, an invigorating outdoor adventure, Raccoon River Valley Trail offers something magical for everyone. Prepare to be captivated by the enduring charm of this beloved Iowa treasure.
Happy to entertain any questions, but you didn't have to.
Right.
Yeah, we will take questions. Pat, are we doing everything we can do as a city to? Yeah, I think once the trail, you get the signage up, it's next where the high press goes. Get signage, different routes, that big thing. But yeah, public restrooms good, signage pretty good. Restaurants, close proximity. I think the one need we have in the Raccoon River Valley Trail is we need more. Right now, Waukee has motels, but not with near the trail. You of course do here, Jefferson does. But really need it because a lot of people don't necessarily want to do a 73-mile day, so if we can split it up. Well, that would be probably one thing. I should say the trail is private by us, by the town. They're responsible for the main. Our association, by the market. Trail, stop the businesses.
When's your annual meeting?
Yes, thank you. Sir. That's not a plan. But, April 11th, is our annual banquet. That's a big fundraiser. We always will give each town a free ticket. Last year, if you would like to attend the thing. Matt Tiffin, Director Bright Ride. Be featured. End up with Elizabeth here. We probably need to know who's coming by around April 1st. Okay.
I just wanted to say thank you guys, as somebody that uses your trail probably about 300 times a year. I'm on it nearly every day at some point. Thank you. It's a well-maintained trail. It's a great trail to have. So we really appreciate it. Although I do think we need to do something about making a photographic moment of the confluence of the two trails. I've been saying that since before those two trails connected. I think that Perry needs something to really draw attention to the fact that those two trails are meeting here and something going on here.
And I believe Jeremy just volunteered to chair that committee.
We do a new video. You would be the man.
Yeah, there you go.
Other cabins full adequate? Well, Dawson has nice cabins and Adele on campground, so yeah, just enough, but I think some people have to ride the bike all day, pitching a tent. You know, there are Airbnbs. I think we'll get another hotel, probably Fenora used to have one, they've torn it down. And I think Adele is considering it, but we could just get a couple more cities with hotels and full night life like that.
There are sites a little bit off the trail, different, and that's not ideal, but, you know, long distance for tour, bike tour.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, for what you do.
Well, Tuesday, you want to be at our bank.
Okay. And with that, the next presentation would be from Police Chief Jim Archer.
Chris, you're able to bring that up? All right, thank you. Well, thanks for letting me come to the council meeting and talk about my department and our last year. Last year I didn't have an opportunity to put together an annual report. I'd just taken over in November, so a little hectic last year. So for 2024. But anyway, with the help of Chris and my administrative assistant, Sydney Sirkovich, I kind of had the brainchild for it and most of the information, and they helped me put this all together. So I want to thank them to start with, because that was a lot of work they put into this. So anyway, first time we've ever done something quite this unique, I guess. So we're going to plan on putting this out on our Facebook page and also on the city website. So that way we can be accountable to the community and to the council and just to our citizens as to what we do and what we've been up to. So this kind of gives you a table of contents on that. Did most of you get to read this or at least look at it?
Right.
So I'm not going to read the whole letter there, so that can be put out there. But the main thing I wanted to look at there in that second paragraph. So just to kind of start off, so in 2025, we did increase our calls from 2024. And the interesting part is that the county started dispatching for us in 2024. So we were using two different systems, and we still are on two different systems for our call taking. But I'll kind of get to that a little bit later on about how we integrated that system. So the numbers when it comes to our system versus their system, it might be off a little bit, but we have some pretty good numbers here. So just to kind of give you a quick recap on some of the things. 2025, we increased in a lot of our stats. So our officers made 97 more additional arrests. There's a 23% increase. We issued 186 more citations, 31% increase. We issued 92 more equipment repair orders or warnings, 22% increase. Our parking enforcement really jumped up from 106. We added 166 additional parking tickets, which is 146% increase. I think we had a harder winter than we did last in 2024, because I think the majority of those are probably snow ordinance tickets. But anyway, yeah, there was a lot more snow this year than there was, or in 2025 than there was in 2024. And then we saw a few more, like eight more municipal infractions were issued, 33% increase. The good news is we had 18 fewer car accidents. So that was a decrease of 12.5%, which that number there, that's the one we really want to see when we decrease those numbers, especially for accidents. That's the reason we do traffic enforcement. We're getting out there writing tickets and trying to prevent those accidents. So like I'd mentioned in a DOT meeting we had last week, you know, some of those things like switching to from a 4-lane to a 3-lane on First Avenue out here has drastically reduced our accidents. But we still have accidents. So some of our community engagement things, you know, we try to get out there and be part of the community. We work with DMAC, we work the high school, the elementary school, you know, the local Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts. We try to get out there, try to be visible, and we try to bring a positive light to our job, because a lot of things that we do are kind of negative when it comes to dealing with arresting people and dealing with, you know, people in their worst moments. So it's great that we can get out there and show a positive role model to some of those people we deal with on a daily basis, and just, you know, kind of put a positive spin on our police department. So I'm going to kind of skip through that letter part there. So we added all of our police department, or all of our officers here. So we have these hanging in our front lobby, because oftentimes people come in and say, well, I talked to so-and-so, but I don't know who it was. So we're like, well, look at our wall. But anyway, most of the public probably doesn't come in our front lobby to talk to us very often. So I thought it was important to put all of us up there to show all of our officers and what we do, and our support staff there at the bottom. So if you haven't seen their faces, that would be their faces. So the next one is kind of a group photo. That's such a cool mural they have over there. So I kind of came up with the idea. I said, let's try to make that happen. And that picture there was pretty difficult to make. I remember John Anderson, he saw me over there with a giant step ladder, because there's a big hole there. And he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm trying to figure out how to take a picture in front of that mural. And we made it happen. So it actually turned out pretty good. All right, so end of year statistics. So as you can see there, we had 8,223 calls in 2024. That increased to 8,296 calls this year. I'm not really sure about the incident reports. Last year we may have been, because it's showing we decreased, and I'm not sure how that's possible, because when we make an arrest, within more arrests, you should have more incident reports. But anyway, that's the number we came up with. So 648 to 603. We had 421 arrests last year. We increased that to 518. 144 accidents in 2024, 126 this year, which is a decrease. We had roughly 1,914 traffic stops in 2024, 8,521 this year. But with those amount of traffic stops, we actually issued more traffic citations and more warnings, which is always a plus. And then the municipal infractions, those are anything that's like a civil municipal code violation. So all of our animal stuff, your licensing, your chicken ordinance, all those things so most of those are probably dog at large tickets that we issued. We did make a change this last year in July of 2025. We used to issue a first offense warning on all municipal infractions, and then the second offense became a paid offense. We changed that to help with budgetary things, and those first offenses are now being a paid citation. And I think we've actually seen some better compliance, especially with the dog at larges and that sort of thing. Plus it brings in additional revenues to the city. So we think that's important. And then the parking tickets, like I said, 114 in 2024, and that jumped up to 280 parking tickets this year. which all that money comes straight back to the city. All right. So if you wanted a call breakdown, this comes from the sheriff's office. So this gives you a detailed report of every call that we've been on. That means if we responded to the call, now you're going to see there's some fire calls on there, there's ambulance calls, there's alarm calls. So some of those are calls that our officers actually assisted with. You may think, why are you having, allergy calls? Well, that would be an ambulance call that we went in and assisted on. So we are one of the fewer agencies in Dallas County that still assist our ambulances. We used to go on every ambulance call prior to 2020. And then with the pandemic, that got drastically reduced. Just for the reasons that we don't want to get officers sick and all that kind of thing. But we still assist our ambulance probably more than any other law enforcement agency in Dallas County. So if you wanted to kind of see that breakdown of all those 8,000 calls, you can see that. But then if you want to go to the next with the breakdown of the months. Okay, so this gives you a breakdown of, the pluses and minuses of each month. Yeah, for some reason, May in 2024 was like our highest with 802. And in 2025, that went to August. August was our highest month. I'm not really sure, obviously the end of school, the beginning of school, I don't know, the end of summer. So that kind of gives you a percentage there. And then the next graph there is just going to show you our call. Well, if you go back one more. So as you can see, that kind of shows you the breakdown of the months. And again, August was our busiest month last year at almost 800 calls, just under. And then if you're a real geek and you want to really see what time of day most of our calls come in, well, that would be our afternoon shift. Every year it's going to be that 4 to 5 to 6 p.m. That's when people are getting off work, coming home, kids are out of school, a lot of factors there. So that's always our busiest shift is our afternoon shift. And then we have a breakdown, and the next one's going to be a breakdown of our incident reports. If you really wanted to see what a lot of our activities are like our operating while intoxicated, that would be drunk drivers. We did 49 of those last year, which was an increase, I think, from the year before. We have some officers that are out there getting after it and really trying to find those intoxicated people to get them off the road. So obviously a lot of those are traffic, but we do still have the sexual assaults. We have the simple assaults, those kind of things still happen. We had like 27 burglaries. That's kind of a high number for a community our size. But that's just the way it is. So, all right, moving on. So some of our projects, we did this last year. And most of all these projects were funded by either donations or a grant. That first one is the drone program. We've talked quite a lot about that, but we got a donation from the Haglund family. Burl Haglund was a sergeant with the Perry Police Department. He was one of the first officers to actually retire, begin in Perry and retire his whole career, was here. And he retired sometime in like early 90, like maybe 1990, 91, somewhere in there. But at his funeral, they took donations and they came back and gave us around $5,000. So about that time, we were wondering what to do with that. We were going to hold on to it for a possible drone purchase. And then the sheriff's office reached out to us and said that they had a drone and they wanted to see about if we wanted to purchase it. It was an older drone. It was about 5 years old, and they were going to offer it up for $3,000. And we thought, hey, this seems like a pretty good idea. So we purchased that drone and started using that just to kind of get our foot in the door. And it only had like 25 hours of service on it, so it has a lot of life left in it. And then we applied for a Bach family grant. We received that grant for $10,000. Which allowed us to purchase a brand new drone, which was smaller, more compact, something you can carry in the car. You can deploy it within minutes. The other one, there's a lot of parts you got to put together. That one can be up and flying within probably a minute or two just to kind of get it going. And then we also received a donation from the 100+ people of around $5,000 that we're going to put toward that program as well. Motorola, we kind of talked about that program. We received a $20,000 Dallas County Foundation grant to help offset the cost of that program. And I came to you guys, about a year ago with that. So that was a great grant, and the camera systems have been working really well. And they also have that license plate reader capabilities, which has been really good. We hope we don't lose that with our our state legislature wanting to get rid of some of that. But for the time being, we're still being able to use those. The Frontlines Public Safety Solutions, that was a program that we were able to purchase to help us document any use of force activities that we had. We used to fill out like this Word document, and Sydney had to try to put that into some sort of way of being able to track it and all that. It was very difficult. But anyway, this program we came across, it also helps us with complaints, compliments, vehicle pursuits, foot pursuits, and then any conduct issues with officers when you're doing counseling, that kind of thing. And this is all something that we can put it in the program. It's there. We can search it real easy. If you came to me and said, how many use of forces did you have last year? I'd be able to just search that and have you an answer pretty quickly. Our old system, it probably would have taken probably a day or two to go through everything and sift through it. So it's really good information. Plus it also has a way to kind of give us a heads up if there's an officer that's had too many things, to go, hey, this is kind of red flags. This officer's had, 5 or 10 use of forces, and you probably need to look into this. So it kind of gives you an early warning system. We thought that was beneficial, and it only cost $2,500. So that's been really beneficial for us this year. So, all right, moving on. Okay, this is another thing. I got a phone call from the nephew of the former police chief, Harold Wicks, who would have retired quite a long time ago, back in I don't know, maybe 1979. And he said, hey, I got this money. I got $2,700 from it wasn't even with his family, but it was somebody that, I don't know, somebody in his family. And he said, I don't really know what to do with this, but my uncle was a police chief there. I'm sure you can find a use. So we took that $2,700. We've been talking about replacing our badges for years, a long time. Eric and I discussed it, but badges are super expensive. You're talking almost $200 per badge if you have them made. Yeah, it's ridiculously expensive. So Alex, Sergeant Lott, he did some research and that sort of thing, and he found a company that we could actually get 2 metal badges, and they're actually done really well. Plus we can get 2 flexible badges for our outer carriers that look more professional than the badges we had. So we felt this was a great opportunity to take money that didn't come out of the city coffers and we could actually personalize each of those badges. So whenever someone gets angry with us, they say, what is your name and your badge number? Well, our old badges didn't have badge numbers. So now we can say, oh, well, it's right here. So you can just look on your badge. But anyway, it's nice for the officers because it gives them some buy-in, and they actually have a person, that's your number. That's what we call out on. That's what you're known as, is your number. So it's really important for officers to have that. So we thought that was a great idea. Y'all probably driven by the police department. We put up this nice, pretty new sign out front. Our building sign that used to be on the other side, on the east side of the building, actually blew off in a storm probably about 3 years ago, maybe 4. And we've never replaced it with anything. So we wanted something that really kind of popped and showed the building off a little bit. So we came up with this, and we were able to have this built and installed, and I think it turned out really nice. This was funds that were left over from the Sallyport project. I think something to do with the solar system or something. I'm not really sure, but so that was, again, funds that weren't used out of our general fund or anything like that. That was kind of surplus. The next one we did there is our shooting range. We went in partnership with the Dallas County Sheriff's Office many years ago, probably in 2011, I think. think it was during Chad Leonard's first term. They had a whole bunch of drug seizure money that he wanted to get rid of. So they partnered up with Chief Brickner, and we really remodeled our shooting range down there. Well, as you can see, it would have, that's a long time. The wood really started rotting away and that sort of thing. So we felt we needed to spruce it up a little bit. So we used money out of our general funds to put all new boards on our shooting range. You can kind of see there's numbers there. We made the lane markers and everything, so it really enhanced it. Had the maintenance department come out. We have 2 sets of lights up there with a whole bunch of light. I think they each of them have like 8 lights on them. We replaced 4 bulbs in each one, which is plenty of light down there, but we were down to 1 light that was working. So we share this with the sheriff's office, which will be coming to an end here this fall, because they're building a brand new indoor range. So this will be just our range again. But anyway, we thought we'd spruce it up and use those funds, and it was my officers, and then Sergeant Lott and myself did all the labor on that, putting all that back up. We spent like 2 days out there cutting lumber and drilling that all in there. So that was all kind of free labor, so to speak. Okay, so community involvement. We throw a lot of pictures up there because there's a lot of things that we do. And if you've all read those things, those are kind of neat. Like I said, we try to get out in the community and offer things to the community. The really cool one there is the PACES program. We do a bike rodeo with them every year. Our officers decided to get together and purchase bike helmets so we could give helmets away to these kiddos that don't have bike helmets. And that was through our Peace Officers Association. I think we bought like, 80 helmets, I think. We do Shop with a Cop every year, which is this community supports us really well with that. This last year we had 20 kids signed up to do it, and we had 18 of them show up. We give them each $200, and then we go shopping with them here in Perry. So we keep the money local, and we have a blast with it. And it's always fun to get out there with those kids and do a lot of shopping. So that's some of the things we do. We do the drug take back day. This year we handed out 24 meals or 25, I don't remember. Anyway, we handed those meals out during Thanksgiving. We came up with the money to do that out of our Peace Officers Association as well. We thought that was important to kind of get back to the community. And we partnered with Hy-Vee and Fairway. They helped us out giving things to us at cost and that kind of thing. So that's always a benefit. If you look at that picture up there in the upper right-hand corner, not only do we save people, but we save ducks. So that was a call where Sergeant Lott and Officer Dahlberg got called downtown in front of the old Ben Franklin there, and there was some baby ducks that had fallen in the drain there, and they literally were able to get I'm not sure how they got that drain off. Maybe they called somebody. Those are really heavy.
They lifted it.
Did they?
Yeah.
So anyway, we were able to save the ducks. That's kind of a cool thing. Anyway, just a lot of things that we do throughout the year. I get to throw out a first pitch at the first military and first responder softball game for the high school. That was really cool. They invited us to come out there. So that was fun. All right, moving along there. What else we got? Just some of the things that we did. Officer Dahlberg graduated the police academy in April. We had a lot of officers get certified as instructors. So Detective Lieber became a defensive tactics instructor. Officer Jaden Day and who else we got there? He became our first drone pilot. So he's our one and only drone pilot right at the moment, but we're still working on other people getting trained for that. Officer Dylan Lurch, he got sent away in May to Iraq, and thankfully he was able to come back early. So we got him back in February, and he's back on the road. So that's great to have him back on duty, and he's not in the Middle East anymore. So that's good for him and his family. Officer Goose, he became a firearms instructor. Officer Perez and Officer Barry became standardized field sobriety test instructors. And then Officer Goose also became the new school resource officer, which that's been a huge addition out there. They really like him a lot. He's done really well out at the high school and middle school and elementary school. So that was a great addition. And then Officer Perez also became a less lethal munitions instructor. There's a restriction on that where you have to be an officer for 3 years before you become an instructor. So for the last 3 years, we've been waiting for officers to magically get their 3 years so they can actually become an instructor. Anyway, moving on. Our last thing is we have an awards banquet every year. We had that back in January. And so Officer Perez got an award for the most arrests and most drug arrests. Officer Day got the most impaired driving, drunk driving arrests, and the most traffic citations. Sergeant Lott, he got the biggest drug bust award. He got a life-saving award and also a grant funding award. Officer Sparks got a grant funding award. Officer Martinez also had a life-saving award. Sydney Sirkovich, she got a grant funding award. Emily Onen, she took over as our evidence custodian and she's done a great job with that, keeping things organized. So I gave her an award for that. And then Officer Goose was our top shooter award. And then 2 years ago, we started the Officer of the Year, which is basically voted on by all members of the department. And our newest officer, Officer Tyson Dahlberg, was the one that won this year. And I think the biggest reason he won is he graduated like at the end of April, got out here on the street after, and then he was an FTO till, oh my, like, I think he came out on the road either June 1st or July 1st, somewhere in there. And he ended up with the year with 69 arrests this year, which is the third highest of all the officers in the department after being gone for half a year. And he had 231 traffic citations. And he just has a great attitude for being 23 years old. You wouldn't think that if you talk to him. He's very mature for his age, and he gets after it, and he's a really good officer. So we want to applaud officers like him, and we hope to keep him around for a long time. All right, one last thing to go over is you can kind of see that's our awards banquet we had at the Tin Pig. They're gracious enough to allow us to come in there on a Sunday evening so we can have the banquet there. So this is pretty impressive. The department as a whole, this is between officers volunteering and seeking out grants and Sydney helping get those grants, the application done and filed properly. So our department last year, we got a total of $40,500 in grants that we received that, help offset all the things that we do for the police department and for the city. We realize that, our biggest, we probably have one of the biggest our biggest budgets in the city. And most of that goes to personnel and training. So that's, we really want to try to help the city any way we can and find those revenue sources to help offset a lot of things we do. So anyway, with that, I'm open for any questions. I hope you all got something out of that report and,
Very nice. It was
That's the
good.
first I've seen anything that extensive.
yeah, I thought it would be something that we probably should start doing. So,
It's very nice.
yeah.
A question, and as I told you earlier, just thank you for the comprehensive and very educational, informative report. Look forward to.
Yeah,
I don't
you're
know
welcome.
how much
Nice.
time it is.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Chief.
You bet.
What is a meet call? MEET?
Oh, that would be, so we would call that like a citizen assist or somebody like, if somebody, we call it talk to officer. So if somebody calls in and they say, hey, I have a question, or they just say, meet with a complainant. Yeah, so that would be
I
what,
think there's about 475, but
yeah, meet with complainant, which that is usually one of our highest ones we have because we're meeting with people. I mean, the amount of civil things that we deal with is just through the roof, whether it be child custody, neighbor dog pooping in your yard or grass clippings or music being loud or you name it, we deal with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you to you and all.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I got a question
Yeah.
about the arrest here, for 518 arrests. When you arrest somebody, do you have to transfer them to Dallas County? Or do they stay here?
No, I mean, like any driving under suspension arrest, which we had like 114 of those are mostly just cite and release. We actually arrest them. They get handcuffed. We take them to our office. We kind of, so to speak, book them, we process them, and then we release them with a court date. So, I mean, out of that 500 and some, I don't know the exact number, how many we're transporting down to Dallas County, but probably maybe a third of those probably go to Dallas County, maybe half.
So you don't have a facility here, holding facility?
We did, but when we got rid of our dispatch center, we lost our 24-hour jailers. So we still have the jail. It's considered administratively closed, but if we ever wanted to reopen it, that is a possibility if we ever had to. Like if we had a major event or something like that, where I don't know, if you had a big event going on in town and you had a riot or something like that, and you had to store people somewhere, that could be a possibility to still use it because we're still have a person certified as a jailer and that kind of thing. So.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You could. Okay. I'm gonna switch up the agenda again because this is the second time that Ms. Jennings been here for a very long meeting and gets put off to the end. So we're gonna go to item C of new business first. This is a resolution approving technical services agreement with Region 12 with contingencies. And there's a lot on here that to explain, but it's for a community development block grant for repairing older homes. And so if I get a motion to discuss.
Motion that we approve a technical services agreement with Region 12 with contingent.
I would second that.
Okay, and then Carla, if you'd like to.
You don't even want to know what it's for?
Yes, we did.
Oh, yeah, it's when you tell us, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Thank you for having me here tonight, and thank you for the bump up and thing that was not necessary, but thank you. As you know, Region 12 is hired by the city to provide assistance in grant funding and whatever the other half of local assistance that my office does. I'm the housing programs coordinator, so it's my job to get as many of those funds in housing and see where the cities that can use them are. Over the past couple of years, just to let you know, in 24 and part of 23, we did $122,000 worth of owner occupied rehab within there. There was an HRPP fund that ran through the state and we administered it for Perry, in addition to our federal home loan bank grants that we monitor and do in your city each year. Not too long ago, our federal home loan bank grants are 25% of them have to go to veterans. We are very proud of the veterans and we want to serve them to our best of our abilities. I was running out of veterans on my wait for grant list, so we put out some advertising and marketing within your community. I received 41 requests for owner occupied assistance. 41. Only about 15% of them were vets, but I got my vets and we're starting to work on them. So with that being said, IEDA about 5 or 6 years ago used to have owner occupied rehabilitation. You guys were one of the last programs that ran through before they decided that rural housing didn't need any community development block grant funds. We don't have enough time for me to get on my soapbox about that. Anyway, Debbie Durham has brought back some housing portions to that, kind of dipping her toe back in the sand. What is going to be on the menu for grant applications is a roof program. Any community can go up to 6 houses in their program. It would run very similarly to how your owner occupied program ran, which is when Region 12 does your administration, we take care of the bids, we take care of the contractors, we take care of the lead safe work practices. We make sure that all of the HUD and the IEDA and all of those boxes are checked for compliance. So with that being said, on March 1st, they were supposed to open up the grant application and they have delayed it until March 18th, which is Wednesday. So they will have that from March 18th to May 22nd. There will be 5 to 7 programs allotted in the entire state. So we had to look at our 6 counties and the majority of Dallas County and go, who can meet all the boxes and get funded? That's why I'm here. So with that being said, similar to the other CDBG programs, we have to do environmental impact statement. We have to do affirmative fair marketing, and we have to go out and find the people before we apply for the grant. That's where that list of 41 people comes in. There were a lot of requests for roofs on that list. So I feel that we have a good pool of people to pull from and to go. I don't know, there's a lot of familiar faces from 5-6 years ago. We used to do $100 an application for income verification. We're not doing it this year because they say there's going to be extra special warm fuzzy points for cities that do the match. So take that $100 you used to pay us and let's put it back into your city as match. I will be back in future council meetings to discuss the program and scoring criteria in the weeks to come. But for right now, I would love for you guys to apply. I would love to be your grant administrator. And I think you would have a very, very good chance of being selected, mostly because of those 41 responses that we got to very little marketing. Now, as far as the program goes about the roof rehab and how it would function and when it would happen, do you have any questions about that?
Roof has to be in need of repair, of course.
Yes,
and you
which
have-
means that about 2/3 of its lifespan has to be done. It can replace the roof, the sheathing. We have to use a Class D 40-year shingle. We have to meet energy efficient requirements, and we can do the roof, the sheathing, fascia, soffit, and gutter. But that's all they're going to let us touch, no matter what the siding. But we'll take it, and we're going to make these programs work, and we're going to bring more of this back into the CDBG menu to come.
Does the homeowner pay?
They do not. The homeowners are at 80% of the area median income. Roofs tend to, even in the 12 years I've been at Region 12, you know, if it's a roof under $12,000 to $14,000, it's a tiny little house. And many of them can be up in the high teens and into the low 20s, especially if they need that sheathing replaced at the same time. We cannot go over shingles. We do things right. We rip them off. We make sure the sheathing's good. Then we put a good quality product back on. I have 2 inspectors now. Both of them come from the field. And so they were tradesmen before they became inspectors. And I have a 20-year commercial construction background before Region 12. So we can handle your construction. Any other questions?
What percent's the city's share?
The city share would be anything from 0 to whatever you would want to commit for match. If you do 6 projects, I hope you will at least go $600 since we're not doing income verifications. And then as the scoring comes out Wednesday, if there's anything else, I'll be back in April and other council meetings prior to. As with previous CDBG programs, you will have to hold a public hearing. There will be a template for procuring for technical services. And that's really what the city needs to do. The rest of it, we will take care of for you.
Any questions?
Have you individually interviewed these 41 people or?
Yes, because we all want to stay off of Channel 8. And so what we do is typically a first come, first serve. Everyone that is on my wait for grant list will receive an email if we have their email, or a letter if we don't have a letter. We will have marketing brochures that we will ask the city to post on their Facebook page, maybe the city website, and any other avenues that you have for promoting it. Yes, and I don't mean veterans are given preference in a different program that I have. I can't push them up the ladder on this one. Sorry. And that's the first come, first serve with a completed application, not just you sent me something with your name on it and you never got me the rest of your documents. So a completed application. that helps. That helps. If approved, I will probably start your marketing a week from today. If that's okay with
Lovely.
you.
Questions,
Anything else?
comments? Okay. Thank you very much. Roll call?
Walling. Yes. Smaller.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Andor.
Yes.
Thank you very much. We'll move back to old business. Item A is a resolution approving a temporary construction easement. It's for the work of the downtown redevelopment with Sheffer Enterprises LLC or work along Lucinda. Warford. Okay. So could I have a motion, please?
I make a motion, we approve a temporary construction easement.
I'll second.
Discussion.
Yep. The hash marks just to allow us to be, or the contractor to be able to get in and do the work that they need to do, tie into things. They will mostly just walk on their property and then work with the
On
landscaping,
top of the roof there.
potentially on top of the roof, as long as they have appropriate OSHA safety.
Yeah.
So, and then out after this easement, we just have one more easement we're working on with Wells Fargo to do a little bit more additional work. Hopefully place a transformer in hopes of doing some underground electrical work.
Thanks for.
Pending.
Bring it up.
Pending some cost estimates from Alliant and then electricians and things like that. Still in progress.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Smaller.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Shelley.
Yes.
Walling. Yes. Andor.
Yes.
Okay, on to new business. Item A is approval of appointments to various boards, commissions. This one's to put Mr. Joseph Toon into the Airport Commission for a 4-year term, which would end on 3/17/2030, and to appoint Mrs. Hannah Pierce to the Parks and Recreations Advisory Board for a free 3-year term that would end on 3/17/29. They both showed interest in continue supporting their community by volunteering. So have a motion, please.
Motion to move forward approval of appointments to various boards and commissions.
Second that.
Need any discussion?
Is that the airport board, does that bring it up to 5 now? 7?
Yeah.
7?
It'll be 5. Yep, it's small. It will be full through.
Roll call.
Kelly.
Yes.
Walling. Yes. Smaller.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Andor.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank these people again, willing to serve on these.
not for the pay.
Mm.
Okay. Item B is resolution approving the fiscal year 2025 annual audit report. So hopefully you all had a chance to read that and could stay awake long enough to do it, but we always get marked up for a few things, but it's going down further and further because we continue to find ways to double check each other, even in a small department. So thank you all for putting in the effort and getting us a nice audit report. Yes, but we need a motion.
Yeah, we're here.
Susie, got anything you would like to say about it?
As long as the, and I think we'll probably, since our office is as size it is, we'll probably always have segregation and duty comments, something we always try to make happen, especially with the new software. Now we can really have good audit trails of who approved what. That's the auditor, John volunteered me for Vicky to come in and on different things. Bank deposits or petty cash. There are just, some things that are just really hard for us to do, or for the fire preservation, have someone review their accounts. Those are the things that really need But most of them are just like segregated.
Smaller communities.
Probably a
They
lot of-
don't.
They don't.
Just
I
accept
think,
the comment. and-
Was it City of Clive or Johnston, received the same comment in theirs, so even larger organizations get it too.
Seems to be the only findings that. Here.
And Susie. Others who put it so much time. In making this, audit report. For the whole year now.
Roll call, please.
Andor.
Yes.
Wallen.
Yes.
Shelley.
Yes.
Smaller.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Okay, we've already done item C, so we'll skip on to item D. Our last item is a resolution approving a professional services agreement for sanitary flow monitoring. One job that I will not be volunteering to help with. For checking the flow in a number of sewer systems around town to verify that when some new projects come online, that we got adequate flow and can plan accordingly if not. So have a motion, please.
I make a motion, we pass a resolution approving a professional services agreement for sanitary flow monitoring in Zone 4.
I would second that.
So basically what that is doing is measuring any increase of the sewer line.
Yep.
And get industrial.
So really the focus of this is trying to narrow down some areas of town for what we call I&I, which is inflow and infiltration. So, you know, in periods of heavy rain, and Josh can step in at any time too, as he gets the phone calls. You know, if we get a heavy rain, sewers will become inundated. We have some backups. So Josh and his crews have been out checking manholes in some of those events. So this will be able to give us, did we end up going with 6 months of data? So hopefully getting them in the next month-ish through about September, so that we have a full summer's worth of data to really be able to try and kind of pinpoint where some of the legs of that main trunk line are taking on additional water during rain events.
Yeah, so Sen, you were right. It is a 6-month period. Traditionally, we would say about a 2-month period is needed. With seeing some of the bounces and inundation in the system, we wanted to see kind of what that wet season weather was, as well as the dry season. If we get a 2-inch rain when it's really dry, how those impact differently, so we can truly see a better understanding of I&I timeframes. If it's wet, you're going to see it coming through in storm sewers rather than field tiles kind of situations. So not looking at just in one scenario, but the fuller period of multiple scenarios. So, and this is just focusing on that one zone 4, starting there at the Raccoon River Valley Trail, pushing east, up into zone 4, where there's been more significant, more recent events that Josh and his crews have been handling.
And I think,
And a lot of this has to do too with, we have a protocol, we have a procedure in place for when we get these really high rains. Or when it's really, we have a really wet season. Our sewer systems are like anywhere, they're older, right? So that water comes in just through the cracks or whatever into the sanitary sewer pipes. And they tend to take on that water like a drain. So with this, we can find some of these areas and really narrow in on where this is going on. We've tried doing some investigating ourselves. We've raised manholes. We've done stuff. That's another reason we're doing these sewer linings that you've seen the people in town doing, is to help cure this stuff. So this is kind of, helping us find out, is there a smoking gun somewhere? We haven't found one. So, but
Yeah,
So the solution is to do zip lining or something like that on the really bad spots?
yeah, so what this won't fix the problem. I want to preface that. This will help us identify where is that problem coming from. So it's going to get a baseline between the 5 monitors of how is that fluctuating through, where are we seeing the surcharge coming from? Is it coming from the industrial park? Is there a manhole buried that actually is sucking in a pond? Is it pushing up further into the apartment complexes and maybe the pond has a unknown connection into the sanitary line and that's what's kind of bleeding things in. It's not to find exactly where it is, but it's trying to get us closer to identifying smoking gun, as Josh mentioned.
Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Walling,
Yes.
Mahler.
Yes.
Shelley,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Anwar.
Yes.
Okay, with that, reminder that we will be meeting 1 o'clock the 30th to have another budget discussion. And then other than that, our first regular council meeting, next regular council meeting will be the first Monday of April. So thank you all for all coming and we will adjourn.